was that I started enjoying studies. I think it is because the faculty here are filled with zeal and passion and inquisitiveness and whatnot. The people who had known me prior to my coming here are truly surprised after seeing me happily studying. I had never thought of doing PhD before coming here, but now I have enrolled myself in the PhD program here. Be it work or social life, I've enjoyed every bit of my life at IIIT-Delhi, almost verbatim. Another one from a graduating BTech student. At IIIT-Delhi, I have definitely learned a lot through our demanding coursework, but it was my growth outside the classroom which made IIIT-D special for me. In 4 years, I have written research papers, attended conferences, proposed new rules and projects for the institute, pitched to venture capitalists, gotten graphic design experience, and worked with dozens of partners in different areas. I'm certain that it is our open, egalitarian, and feedback-driven culture that allows me and my classmates to contribute as much as they have. The fact that I can simply walk into the office of a faculty staff member and propose a new idea or give feedback is incredibly powerful. You are now ready to pursue your own professional careers. As an academic, I cannot forego this opportunity to offer some advice. I've decided to mention only one. In your feedback in our interaction a couple of weeks ago, just informal feedback, you had frankly admitted that some of you had taken shortcuts at times, copying in assignments, exams, etc. As you proceed in your careers, my one advice is to always remember that there is no shortcut to any goal worth pursuing. You take shortcuts, you compromise something. You reduce your chances of achieving your goal fully. My experience and interaction with successful people across the world has convinced me that the surest way of reaching wherever you want to go is to work hard and smart towards your goals. You are now alumni of this institute. Alumni form a special stakeholder for a university as their only interest is to see the stature of the university grow. I would like to make two specific suggestions to you to play a role as alumni of this institute. First, stay engaged. Visit the institute and its website regularly. Ensure that your contact information is correct and help us build a strong alumni network in which every single alumnus is included and connected with the institute at all times. The strongest alumni networks are the ones that are built and nurtured by the alumni themselves, as alumni actually have much stronger benefit in staying connected. From my own life, I can tell you even 30 years after graduating from IIT Kanpur, we still derive support from each other, and actually there are many instances where I've tapped on my friends from IIT Kanpur to help the institute in times of need. My second suggestion to you as alumni is to contribute back to the institute. As I've said last year, I believe all alumni should aim to give 1% of your yearly income to the institute and increase it when you're doing well. Like the corporate social responsibility for companies, we who are clearly the privileged and more fortunate ones in our country should adopt a personal social responsibility code and give back to the society. And one way to do that is to support the university you studied in, which provided you with foundations for your career. And to be with you in giving back to the institute, as I've already announced last year, each year 1 month of my salary will be deducted and contributed to the institute as the initial contributing from the graduating batches. So your batches have already made a start. Now keep it up and let us see it grow and snowball over the years. Besides making contributions yourself, there will be opportunities for you, particularly when you're senior, to have corporations, philanthropists, etc., to establish chairs, fellowships, scholarships, awards, and things like that. Please help bring such opportunities to the institute. In addition, please help your juniors by ensuring that your companies that you work in continue to recruit here. To end, dear graduates, have a successful and satisfying life. We have given you a good launching pad in rather difficult initial circumstances. Make the most of it. And while excelling in your own pursuits, keep engaged and contribute to the Institute's pursuit of excellence and global stature. My best wishes to all of you graduates. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, sir, I request you to deliver your address and introduce the chief guest.
Chief guest, Professor Dinesh Singh, Professor Pankaj Jalote, faculty, staff and students of the Institute, and today's VIPs, the graduating students and their parents. Good morning and welcome to the second convocation of the IIIT-Delhi. This is for us always a major milestone, not just for those who are graduating, but indeed for all of us associated with the Institute. The convocation is always a day to look back for all of us, and I know the graduating students will do this even more than some of us do, look back at your years at the Institute and look forward to what is yet to come. And I think for the Institute too, it's a time for reflection and a time for looking forward to where we are going. The director has just given you a brief summary, his report for the year, and it's always amazing to see how a young institute, with just about 5 years old now, has come such a long way in such a short time. 5 years in the life of an institution is just a beginning, and yet I'm delighted with what progress we've been making, already been made. Like many of you, I'm greedy. I wish we had done more, but it's difficult. And the circumstances that we have had, I do think the Institute has done exceptionally well. I'm particularly pleased to reiterate a couple of aspects which the director mentioned. Particularly pleased at the quality of the faculty we've been able to get and the speed with which we've been able to ramp up not only the physical facilities, but the most important human resource infrastructure of the Institute. And I think that this is what has made this an institute which already has earned a name in such a short period of time. When I go outside and travel, and increasingly I'm delighted to say not just in the country, but even outside the country, I get people asking about the IIIT-Delhi and how it's doing, how it's been able to do so well so quickly, what have been the secret ingredients that have put this institute together. As you know, a lot of new institutions have come up in the country in the last few years at the level of professional education. New IITs, new IIMs, new IIITs, new institutes of National Institutes of Technology, and of course a whole host of other private universities and engineering colleges. And I must tell you that with some pride and satisfaction that we are indeed the envy of these institutions. They're always curious to know, keen to know how we have done and can they emulate us. And I say this not with a sense of smugness or a sense of excessive boasting, but I think as a factual statement of which we can all be proud. But this poses new challenges for the institution. How do you continue down this path? How do you make sure that what we have achieved in just 5 years is something which we can say 5 years from now, when we're 10 years old, that again we are ahead of the pack, that we have set new benchmarks, that we may be able to do something new, different, and of extraordinary quality. That's a continuing challenge which all of us will have to face as we go forward. A good beginning is a great start, but we have to make sure how do we capitalize on that. As Pankaj put it so well, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. If you've done well in the first part, the first lap, that doesn't mean much. It's a long, long journey which goes on, and actually in the life of institutions, it's not even a marathon, it's a treadmill. It goes on forever and ever, and the speed has to keep increasing. Those are the challenges which we face as we go ahead. So with a sense of satisfaction on what we've been able to do in these 5 years, we have to see how we can not only continue, but accelerate the pace of progress. This is the challenge for the institution. But today is a day which is devoted to those who are really graduating, and I address myself to them. As you step out in a formal sense today, some of you I know are already into the more real world of careers, jobs, and some of you into the world of further academics. As you step out into this new phase in your life, you step into a world which is not what it was a few years ago. Especially those of you, and I think most of you will continue to be in India, you see a change. A few years ago, the country was looking ahead with tremendous optimism, and India was, the flavor of the day, the toast of the town. Wherever you went, anywhere in the world, people envied India. And they talked of India, as I said earlier, about our institution, as people do today about our institution. That how have you been able to do this in India? You know, you have a democracy, you have tremendous freedom, you have all the constraints of what that means, and yes, the advantages. But how have you done so well for the country? It seemed boom times. But as you step out today, you will see a sense of sometimes pessimism, sometimes concern, sometimes a great deal of worry in the country, but also outside the country. Outside, India is no longer, as I said, the flavor of the day. In fact, people feel that the India story is running slow, if not stopping. And I think it's something which we have to be concerned about, to introspect and to see how do we get back onto that path where we were. So you step into a world which is difficult, uncertain. You step into a world where the uncertainty has increased, where the complexity has increased, and like everywhere else in the world of technology, new changes are all happening. So you get into a world where complexity, uncertainty, and the one thing that's always a constant, which is change, is happening all the time. And that's something which you've got to cope with. I hope that the years here have equipped you well to face that challenge. That is what education is all about. Education is not about picking up information. It's not also about just picking up knowledge. It's about being able to constantly renew, learn, and to build on that knowledge to create new knowledge, to create new ways of doing things. And I'm hopeful that your years here have brought those special skills, attitudes, and aptitudes to you of saying, how do you cope in a changing world? How do you cope with new realities? Something which I like to repeat always to young people getting out into the world, keep in mind that just as things get obsolete, just as technologies get obsolete, you get obsolete even faster. And unless you renew yourself, unless you keep on that constant path of learning more just from what you can do in your job and your experiences, which are always a learning thing, but also learning from new knowledge, which means keeping up. Don't put away all your books. Yes, put the present ones away maybe, but acquire new ones in a metaphorical sense. You've got to keep learning, because otherwise you'll become obsolete. It's something which we've got to face, and more so in today's world, where the pace of change is increasing, and where, particularly in the technological sphere, we see so many new things happening all the time. For the few of you who are more academically inclined and are looking at already registered or thinking of doing further studies, maybe doing doctoral work, doing research, the challenges are immense. The opportunities are just fantastic. Look at the young faculty here. They've taken on these challenges. They've done some outstanding work. And I don't doubt that many of them will come up with breakthroughs. Can you gear yourself to that kind of vision, that you want to do something which is going to be a true breakthrough? Are you going to work with technology where you can create knowledge which is so new that you get recognized for it and your work stands out specially? These are the kinds of challenges that you'll have to do, cope up in academia. But for those of you taking jobs, the challenge is somewhat similar. Not quite the same, but somewhat similar. That can you prove your capabilities, and through those capabilities, can you begin to do something different, new, innovate? Can you do your job more efficiently? Can you produce something which is exceptional? Can you do it quicker? These are challenges which you expect and need to take up. It's not a matter of doing a job routinely, but of seeing how much more value you can add to that. That is something very special as you go ahead. Want to get back to the institution for a moment and want to say, as we have built this institute, we have had to count on our faculty, our resources. But as you look ahead, and I said this is the time to look ahead to, one of the most important resources for any institution is its alumni. And as those of you who are stepping out, go out into the world, keep that contact, which the director mentioned, with this institute. We in turn will not only continue to be in touch with you, but we'll be most delighted to welcome you back whenever you come here and whenever you want to come here, maybe first to visit, to see what the newer, younger students are doing, to catch up with the faculty, your old teachers who are now, I'm sure in course of time, will become your friends. And for some of you, in the course of time, I do hope you'll come back here and bring your practical experiences into this world by helping to teach young students here, either as a guest lecturer or come and join as faculty. So we look forward to welcoming the alumni back here to this institute all the time and continuously. Remember that you go out as ambassadors of this institute. When you go and work, not only at work, but outside work, people will mark you as a product of IIIT-Delhi. And you are our ambassadors. You are going to carry forward what you've done here. And what you do in turn will help to enrich the brand of this institution and say, you know, this is the kind of person that IIIT-Delhi produces.